palming violation.
Kings and Rockets, Daniel House Jr., nice pass from James Harden, and takes flight.
Now, I was shocked about this one. I knew he was a good athlete. I was like, he's not going to. Oh, yes,
He took off from the semicircle now.
He was inviting him to try to block this one.
Absolutely. He had a couple monster dunks in this game. One on an oop from Harden.
I love these NBA players when they get dunked on. They just turn their head and run the other way.
Absolutely. Like it didn't happen.
Here we go, Lakers Thunder. Paul George, the steal the other way, and the nice 360 to finish that off.
And the 360 the other way. A reverse 360. I like that.
Reverse 360, Statue of Liberty 360. Keeping the ball up there the whole time. Larry Nance Sr. style. I like that. I like that, PG.
All right, sticking with the Thunder, they beat the Lakers 119-103 last night. Smaller story to the bigger story of one Russell Westbrook. Historic night for Russ. 20 points, 20 rebounds, 21 assists. Only the second 20-20-20 game in NBA history. The other one belonging to Wilt Chamberlain. Also, Russ's 31st triple-double of the season, but clearly the most memorable. He called the feat overwhelming. Nick, how do you put Russ's night in a bit of perspective?
All right, so if there were no context to it, it would be spectacular. You said it. There's only been one 20-20-20 game in the history of the league, and it was by the guy who rewrote the record book, Wilt Chamberlain. But when you understand the context, that he went out there last night calling his shot, that he was going to do this. Why did he call his shot? People have seen in the news there was the tragic murder of the rapper philanthropist Nipsey Hussle this week in LA. So Nipsey was a reformed gang member. His set with the Crips was rolling 60s. And he now has did a lot of outreach in Los Angeles to get former gang members or current gang members off the streets in either school or in businesses to help the crime in South LA. Russ went out and said he was going to do this. 20-20-20 gets you to 60. Set when they tried to sub him out of the game late and he was a couple rebounds away, he said no.
Yeah, with a minute left, yeah.
He knew where he was statistically. When he got to the threshold, he started shouting, this is for Nip. He said in the post-game interview, 20 plus 20 plus 20 for his friend who was senselessly murdered on Sunday evening. This is, to me, the basketball equivalent of the Babe Ruth calling your shot. No one's ever had a game like this since Wilt. Only one in NBA history. And he has the ability to say, I'm going to do it. I am going to set my career high in rebounds. Never had his ties career high in rebounds. 21 assists. To do that in the context of it, this is why I will always cut Russ some slack on the inefficiency, on the bad shots, because he is such a singular player in NBA history on his ability to fill up the box score every single night. There's not another player, I would argue, in league history that could go out and say, I am, through hell or high water, going to get 15, 15, 15. And he went 20-20-20, and he now locked up averaging a triple-double for the third straight season. It's unbelievable what he's done.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times we just take it for granted. Like, we don't really look at the numbers. But a number of times through the last year and a half, you've been like, oh, what is this? This is 1 of 5. This is 1 of 3. This is 1 of 2. That's what he did last night.
Yep.
And what it is, it's nice that he was able to channel, because as an athlete, we have these platforms to be able to stand up for a lot of different things. But he has a real connection to the situation there in Los Angeles, born and raised there, played his college basketball there, has tremendous roots there to the community. So to be able to channel that, to be able to send the message as far as what he stands for, what Nipsey was standing for, and to continue that, because there's a great relationship between the music industry and basketball. And then Russ is like, this is more personal, and we were able to see that last night. And the only real relevance we can have was most people didn't see Wilt Chamberlain.
Right.
And I guarantee you when Wilt did this, people didn't know what they were seeing. And I believe we're in the same class. We didn't know what we were seeing. Now, we're adding a little more storyline to it because the story behind it and him calling the shot. But I think that Russ will be one of those kind of players that, man, when you look back at his stat lines in 5, 10 years, going to be like, is that real? Was it pace of the game? Like, was the game totally different?
Russ is doing to the triple-double record books what steroids did to the home run record books. where 60 home runs was an untouchable number. And then you look, you're like, wait, Sosa hit 60, how many? 4 times in his career? McGuire hit 70, Bonds hit 73.
But Russell's the only one doing it.
Well, and he's not doing it with steroids. Like, he's not doing it with artificial enhancement. LeBron has 107 triple-doubles in his career, and his biggest skill is his all-around game. Russ has 100 in the last 3 years. Like, he's done it so much, similar to Wilt. The argument I've made on Wilt is if his stats were 20% worse, he might be more respected because they would feel more realistic. If instead of averaging 50, he averaged 45, it might feel like, oh, so maybe somebody can do that again. Russ is so lapping the field in it, we've become numb to it. We've become numb to how difficult it is and how you have to bring it every single night. And see, as an athlete, I think that's the part that I think other athletes respect the most, is that every single night he's coming with the requisite intensity to do this on both sides of the ball.
All right, so what about the team? So now where the Thunder sit, they could very easily, if the playoffs end today, they're playing the Warriors. Can they compete with the Warriors? I think it was Vincent Goodwill that came out here and said the one team the Warriors are really concerned about, not the Rockets, but the Thunder. How do these two compete with each other?
This is what the Warriors do. If they are concerned about you, they do what they did to the Nuggets last night. So I don't believe, I like Vince's information. And behind the scenes, because players play against each other, and maybe because Russ and Paul, they bring that edge compared differently to there is no one in Denver, there is no one guy they've had these battles with. I think that in the back of the Warriors' mind, they got a lot of respect for the Rockets because they've lost to them head to head. And Harden and CP3, they bring a certain amount of cachet with that organization. So I don't believe that they're worried about the Thunder. I don't believe the Thunder are the threat. They don't shoot the ball well enough. And Russ is not efficient enough in these types of games to be able to defeat the Warriors because he's going to need a lot of help. He's not going to do that. He's going to try to take it upon himself. Now, Paul George, the way he was playing the first 2/3 of the season, they would need that type of performance, but I don't believe Russ is efficient enough on the offensive end to be able to defeat the Warriors.
I don't think OKC could beat the Warriors. I do think the Warriors would be bummed if that's who they draw in the first round because they know they're going to bring it every night. They know they're not going to be intimidated by him. But while right now, if the playoffs started today, yes, it'd be Golden State, Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is tied, same record with San Antonio for the 7th spot. And could Oklahoma City beat Denver in the first round? Yes. Could they? They absolutely could beat the Denver Nuggets in the first round. Now, I don't know that anyone's going to beat the Warriors in the playoffs this year. It might be for everyone, as we said at the beginning of the year. What's your ceiling? For every team, it might be, well, how long until we have to play Golden State? But for Golden State, I think would much prefer play San Antonio, which is a good team, or the Clippers certainly, than have to deal with the Thunder, who we know how good Paul George is, and we know the intensity Russ would bring to the match.
That matchup, whoever they're playing in the first round, it becomes very, very important. Because now we go back to last year, them getting bounced in the first round. With Paul George deciding to re-up with Russ, how would you like, as we start this long deal together, you get bounced again in the first round. So, yeah, much respect. 20-20-20, much respect to all the triple doubles. But, bro, if you get bounced in the first round of the playoffs, your reputation will continue to suffer. There will continue to be the doubters of Russell. Can he be on the champ? Can he be one of the best players on the championship team?
Which is why that game, in addition to the tribute he was trying to do to Nipsey and the individual production, the win was important now.
Sure.
I mean, and he went out there, he had 10 assists in the first quarter and was doing everything he could because San Antonio also won last night. They are trying to get to the 7 line to avoid Golden State in the first round, so every win for them is important with a half dozen games left.
All right, we go from the best Russ in the NBA to the best Russ in the NFL. Could Russell Wilson be forcing his way out of Seattle? That's next on First Things First.